Welcome to another episode of Break the Cycle with me, your host, Joshua Smith. Nephilim Death Squad is already in the chat talking shit about AJ. Hello.
Oh, here we go. What are they saying? What's going on?
They called you gay.
Yeah, what's with the... Why is that an insult?
I don't know.
Come on, guys.
You're like...
I love our gay brothers and sisters.
I will say that AJ's set in second chair tonight, by the way, because Ryan's out. His newborn baby has a bad fever, so he didn't come.
Taking over.
Yeah. It's probably his fault for bringing his baby over to my house all the time, where we get fucking sick constantly because there's 7 kids in here, and I was just sick.
This is the Thunderdome over here.
The fucking Thunderdome. If you don't want to get sick, you got to stay out of here. What's up, Grumpy Gnome? What's up, Nephilim Death Squad? If you guys don't check out that show yet, please do. Fucking guys are savage, even though they hate AJ and AJ hates them.
Oh man, I got to get hooked up to my Rife machine here pretty soon.
We got a great show for you guys tonight. Great guest. I'm very excited. Speaking of, before we go any further, go check out toplobster.com. The man, the myth, the legend, my good friend and partner on Break the Cycle, where you can get all kinds of great Break the Cycle gear and other great podcasts and all kinds of cool gear. You can get the ever sought after Chirp shirt. You can get that by 10% off by using BTC at checkout for a 10% discount. Really worth it. Great stuff. Some of the best merch in the game, really. Even if AJ and them have problems, I don't give a shit. They got it all.
He calls me lame. I don't even care.
Cool. Definitely go check out toplobster.com and use BTC at checkout for a 10% discount. Lots going on in the world tonight. We're going to talk about bloodbaths. And
bloodbaths everywhere.
What else? What else we're going to talk about tonight, AJ?
Oh yeah.
We're going to talk about arming the illegal aliens.
Illegal aliens apparently have gun charges dropped because they have rights like everyone else.
I'm currently being called a communist on Twitter for my views on gun rights, which I think is fucking hilarious. By the right, by the way, which is fucking hilarious.
Hey, it's America.
They're like, oh, you just want to let everybody in, don't you, commie? I'm like, I'm not even an open borders guy, first of all. Second of all, I believe 100% that gun rights are self-defense. Rights to self-defense are inherent from God.
If they're not doing anything violent with them, I don't care.
Yeah, I don't give a shit at all, dude.
Protect yourself,
I don't want more gun legislation in the United States that ends up fucking us, because that's what's going to happen. But we'll talk more about that. Of course, we'll got to bring up some more Haitian barbecue. We always do that. But before we get too much further into this, we got a great guest for you guys tonight. I'm excited. This gentleman got to host a presidential debate that I was in recently in Georgia, which fucking was awesome to have him and Clint as our debate moderators. I was like, yeah, I'm winning this one for sure. I already know. I don't even need to know what the questions are. I'm winning this one. He's the host of the Propaganda Report, Mr. Brad Binkley. Sir, how are you doing tonight?
I'm fantastic. How are you guys doing?
You know, I can't complain, dude.
Awesome.
My mom's in town. My grandma's in town. My sister, my brother-in-law are in town. Like, fucking stuff.
You got 1,000 kids?
I got 1,000 kids, and they're all here tonight. And AJ's here to hang out, drinking. What are you drinking there tonight, AJ?
Yeah, we're for the bloodbath. We're drinking some Viking blood.
Viking blood. Hell yeah, dude.
Dansk mead.
Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, Nephilim Death Squad said Toad won. I don't disagree with that. It's not like I'm here to disagree. I think Toad fucking killed it. Dude.
Wait, he had his feet out, right?
Yeah, he had his feet.
His feet killed it. That's what won. Is the feet.
And so, listen, we got up to the debate stage, and I was like, I'm sitting next to Toad. Fucking absolutely. No matter what. I don't care what I have to do to set, but I'm setting next to Toad because he's going to pump me up. He's going to make me like go harder because Toad's my boy. Like I fucking stayed at Toad's house for a week. Like I love the guy to death, right? And he comes up to the stage and just kicks his shoes off and takes his socks off. Like, oh fuck, here we go, dude. Here we go. I'm excited right now.
Is he on WikiFeet yet?
I don't know. Is there's a thing called WikiFeet? Is that a thing?
I think that there is. I've never been to the site. I've just heard of it.
Yeah, Brad's like, yeah, I think there is. I've never been there. I heard that from somebody else.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. In Minecraft. I don't know. If he isn't, he needs to be for sure. That was, Grumpy. I will say that that is the number one debate that we've had this season. Absolutely, hands down. I believe the Arizona debate was pretty good too. I wasn't there though. I got snowed in Iowa, and all the flights got canceled, so I had to miss Arizona. But Doc Dixon moderated that one. I enjoyed the one in Florida where Gene Epstein was the moderator, who moderates be careful. Moderates the Soho Forum in New York. So he moderates debates for a living. I mean, that's what he does. That was pretty good because they made it like purposely like where we had to go at each other. And then Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And then Pennsylvania was my other favorite too. So, but Georgia, hands down was the best one. And I agree with anybody that's saying that. We got a ton of fucking people watching on Rumble right now. Once again, we're featured. We appreciate it. If you're watching the show, subscribe to the fucking podcast, dude. It's like, we do the show twice a week, Tuesday, Thursday. If you're bored, come hang out in the live chat. We always have fun. So if you're here from any of those places, go ahead and just hit hit that subscribe button. So Brad, what's going on, man? How you been? How's things?
I'm living the dream. I've been covering Fannie Willis a lot, which is a whole lot to cover if you've ever seen Fannie Willis down here in Fulton County. And just doing my daily show, trying to uncover the news and call out the BS as much as possible and have fun doing it like you guys like to do as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, and I've said this, if you watch the After Hours show, there's an intro there where I say, well, if why wouldn't we do something that's popular to gain people into the liberty sphere, right? Basically. And like,
Right.
so having fun is popular. It's a universal populist message of having fun. And so yeah, absolutely have fun. Listen, Brett, how did you, listen, the veil is off your eyes. You're obviously awake, not woke. Okay. I want to clear that up for people.
Don't confuse those two. Definitely.
You see through the fucking bullshit of the mainstream narrative as we do on this show too, but this is what you do for, every day. What 3 times, 4 times, 5 times a week or something like that?
3-4 times a week, usually. Sometimes 5 times a week if I can, but I do daily shows. I do live streams at night, and sometimes we mock the Biden's live, whatever speeches he's giving. And yeah, I've been doing this for a long time. We were on WSB for like 4 years until we talked about Jeffrey Epstein a little before you were allowed to talk about Jeffrey Epstein in the mainstream. And then one of the people who Jeffrey Epstein gave millions of dollars to bought Comcast Media that owned WSB. So we were quickly booted from WSB. And ever since then, been doing it in the podcast world.
Nice. Yeah. So, how did you come to these ideas? I mean, how did you wake up to all this stuff, dude? Like you weren't, was it Ron Paul? Was there some thing in history that changed you? What was it, man?
Ron Paul definitely is someone who inspired me to call out the BS. I love watching those old videos of him giving interviews on CNN where they will ask a regular question to someone and then or not even CNN, Fox also. Then they'll bring Ron Paul on and they'll be like, Ron Paul, a random supporter of yours said you guys boofed each other down in Texas. Can you please debunk this? And he'll just rip the microphone off and walk off because all they try and do is smear him. Then he goes and dominates the debate. So he's definitely a source of inspiration when it comes to having libertarian ideals. I've always been interested in conspiracies. I studied journalism in college, even back to high school, I was into it, but I also studied economics in college. And when I started I do comedy, I do theater, acting and stuff. Everybody there is very, very, very progressive, they think anyway, until they start producing their own shows and realize how much the bureaucracy of theaters kind of hold them back. And then I got to meet a bunch of people who were trying to do stuff like that and trying to do whether it's improv or stand-up. And they felt that because they didn't check certain boxes, that they could never do it. And I came to the realization that the reason that all these people believed that they could not do certain things that they wanted to do, and they clearly have the skill set to do, in my opinion, was because they had been propagandized for their entire lives to think that they had to follow this very strict path, that if they did not follow, they had no other options. And it was an illusionary barrier that was built around them that I investigated. I started researching psychological operations, Edward Bernays, for many, many, many years to try and crack that. How do you help people and yourself get through that illusionary barrier that society has imposed upon you? And then I started getting really, really mad the more I started learning about the propaganda historically, just dating all the way back to especially World War I, how we were conned into World War I through, there was an operation set up. This guy, Sir Gilbert Parker, was sent over here from the Wellington House, and Lord Northcliffe was the guy's name. And they were sent over here to con all the elites, to use the elites to be a mouthpiece, to influence society the same way they do now. And then they would write all these letters about how stupid the American people were and how gullible they were. And I could rant on that forever, but that is basically what got me angry enough to just go hard in uncovering propaganda and learning as much about it as I possibly could.
Binkley, who's they?
They, I have to say this. A lot of people are against the trans movement, but I have to say, at least us conspiracy theorists finally know who they are.
Yeah, we finally figured it out. We finally noticed. I'm just saying. No, I'm just kidding. Not, am I? I don't know.
I heard, just real quick, I heard him say something about capturing the elites. Elite capture, is that like what the Chinese are doing right now? You gotten into any of that?
I'm not sure. What are you referring to?
Like,
you mean over here?
Yeah. Like in the same way, they'll capture our elites, so then it's kind of a top-down
I mean,
culture.
that's definitely a strategy that is every single propaganda book that you could be 10 years old or 100 years old talks about the same strategy. And I always go back to Edward Bernays because he's so cocky and he's so clear in the way that he communicates it. But you want to target those people that have the most influence. You either want to plant somebody there or you want to infiltrate and co-opt. And absolutely, the Chinese and whoever else are doing that. And these letters that this guy, Sir Gilbert Parker, wrote back and forth to Lord Northcliffe talked about how the reason they wanted to go after the elites and the academics is because not only because of their influence, but because they're so arrogant that they believe that they could never be fooled, which made them the easiest to fool. So yes, that's definitely happening in my opinion.
Yeah, there's no doubt that it's still happening. And it sucks, like, because there are people like us who are like, maybe I'm not saying I'm the smartest guy in any room I'm ever in. Okay, I get that. But I'm smart enough. Sometimes it happens, but sometimes I'm smart. But at least I'm smart enough to understand that my government lies to me. I got in this argument with a guy the other day on Facebook who's like, he popped on. I don't know if you know who the Fakertarians are, but they talk a lot of shit about me. And I'm in their Fakertarians like group on Facebook, right? Like just because I never go in there, but I popped in there the other day and I was like, hey gays. I hope everyone's having a good day. I said, make sure you drink a lot of water and get some vitamin D out there. The sun's out. Go get some vitamin D. I said, I hope you guys are all doing well. God bless or whatever, And I popped off and some guy's like, hey, are you still in all those crazy conspiracies?
God.
And I'm like,
right there's a propagandized person.
Yeah. And I'm like, hey, wait a minute. Which ones? Right? Because like I said, a lot of conspiracies are just truth that haven't come true yet, right? And he's like, no, they're not. There's no such thing. Our government's not smart enough to do conspiracies.
It's all mistakes and accidents.
Yeah, and I'm like, dude, there's like literally like released data on this. Like you can go read about. He's like, well, if you say Northwoods, that didn't happen. I'm like, okay, listen. First of all, I don't even need to say the Northwoods thing. Let's just talk about the Afghanistan papers. That's much more current, anyways, right? I was like,
MK
it shows
Ultra.
Yeah, MK. Well, even forget that. Just let's talk about the Afghanistan papers, right? That prove 100% that we were lied into a war 22 years ago, 23 years ago, right? Like it proves it very clearly, and all you got to do is go read it. It's like unreleased documents that show the government knew we couldn't win the war there, lied to the public about it, said it would be quick. You know what I mean? And we were there for 21 years. So like, are you telling me that that's not true? And he's like, still believe all those all those conspiracy theories. And I was like, you're a fucking idiot. You're stupid. The reason why we're in the mess we're in today is because of people like you. Just like you.
Not asking questions, just accepting. Like, are the standards should be to criticize the people the politicians especially you most identify with harder than you criticize people who you're never going to vote for or support anyway, because you're not really worried about being fooled by them. It's the ones who you are more likely to not question because you like them who are going to con you. And you read through the history of propaganda, this is very clear. I've beaten myself over the head with bricks trying to tell this to my friends who say similar things, and then they'll question like 9/11 years and years ago. But fast forward to now, and then Donald Trump questions 9/11, when he first ran, and all of a sudden they no longer question 9/11. It's wild the way they can just get people to flip on what they previously believed by putting words in the mouth of someone that they hate.
Right. Which is interesting because we saw this happen this week.
Yeah.
This week.
Yeah.
Like, okay, listen. And I posted this on Twitter. And I meant it very clearly, okay? Anybody who's ever followed economics, okay? Obviously, I've been studying Austrian economics for like a decade or more now, okay? But I follow the market. I follow markets. I follow the crypto market, of course, especially hard because I'm a Bitcoin guy, right? Like I'm very, people know I'm a Bitcoin maxi, and I fucking think Bitcoin's the way forward when we're talking about opting out of the federal fiat scheme, right? So like I follow all these markets. If you're following markets or economics at all, you hear the term bloodbath and blood all the time, dude. Every time there's
MSNBC, you hear it all the time.
Yeah, anytime. So for people that are too stupid to follow a fucking market, every time there's a downturn on the market, all the numbers turn red. They all turn red. There's red and green. Green is good. Red is bad. Red is blood. We call it blood. We call it a bloodbath.
Red.
Okay. So here's Donald Trump, and fuck you guys for making me defend fucking Donald Trump. Of all the fucking people, I'm running for president because I don't like Donald Trump. Okay? I don't like Joe Biden. I don't like these people. I think they're fucking evil. I think they're fucking evil, dude. I think they continue to foist war upon the world. I think they continue to fucking counterfeit fucking money through the Federal Reserve that destroys my purchasing power, that's made my fucking food bill for my kids go from $700 every month to $1,700 every month.
Unbelievable.
Okay? Like, I don't like these people. I fucking hate them. Okay? So the fact that you make me defend Donald Trump, fuck you, right?
But you're right for doing it, though. When you
Right.
so that's the right thing to do, though.
Because I'm honest. Somebody asked me, why are you defending another party's president when you could just let it go? And I'm like, because I have integrity, because I'm honest, because you're making me do this, because every single liberal and leftist pundit and talking head in the entirety of social media is lying right now to everyone.
They're defending their lies, too.
Yeah, and I don't want my grandmother to think that there's some fucking scary civil war about to take place if Donald Trump doesn't win the fucking election.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
So he's talking in Ohio to fucking car manufacturers saying that if I don't win, there'll be a bloodbath in the fucking car market.
Yep.
You giant douchebags that absolutely cut it out of context, 100% put it out there so people could freak the fuck out, and then made it all about civil war because you lack integrity, you're a piece of shit, and you're destroying this country with your false narratives.
That's absolutely 100% spot on, and they know that they're doing it. Also, it trickles down where it can become. Does this person know that they're spreading lies, or is this someone who's brainwashed? But those people, the Rachel Maddows, the Jake Tappers, that are spreading these messages at the mainstream level, know exactly what they're doing, and they intentionally pull that stuff out of context when they could play the whole clip and just say, you decide for yourself if they wanted to, but they're not going to do that because they have an agenda. And for me personally, it feels like they are getting more and more brazen with their openness about how they're willing to gaslight and propagandize people, because it's like, screw you, I'm going to lie to you because there's enough people we believe who will believe it regardless that we don't even care anymore.
Right. And here's the thing. So we'll talk about the Elon and Don Lemon interview at some point too. I haven't watched the whole thing, unfortunately, but this came up and censorship came up as well. And Elon went out and put out a tweet about this, saying that censorship is bad, basically. Okay, even though he still
he censors Twitter. I mean,
Nick Fuentes is still censored on Twitter.
Yep.
Okay, and I don't care how you feel about Nick Fuentes.
Nick Fuentes can't fucking fly.
Yeah, Nick Fuentes can't fly, but he's also Elon says he's a pro free speech guy who will let anybody, but Nick Fuentes is still not allowed on Twitter. Okay, and Nick Fuentes is not as bad as some of the people who are on Twitter right now. Okay?
Correct.
And he's pretty funny too.
Yeah, he's fucking hilarious. And like, I know you don't like the guy, or I know people don't like the guy. I don't know how you guys feel about. I don't fucking like. I said it on the show. Like, the problem is like, even if you disagree with him, he is the fucking voice of a new generation, right? Like, he is the voice of the people who are pissed off, right? And so like it doesn't matter if you like him or not. That's the truth. But so Elon brought this up, and I made a post, like, and this is true, like, censorship, like, we're coming up on an election year, and he brought up the election year, right? I said, listen, this doesn't just happen around election years, dude. Go to Google right now. Go to any Google site right now, or whatever Google you use, whatever browser you use, and put in, a not mainstream narrative into the search bar, right? About anything, about COVID, about censorship, about war, about healthcare, about anything. You'll get hundreds and hundreds of mainstream narrative posts or findings, right? Results.
Yeah, in the search bar.
I mean,
Hundreds.
you got to go 100 pages deep to find anything different.
To find anything that counters the mainstream narrative on Google, and this goes on every day. Every day.
It didn't used to be like that.
No, it didn't. It didn't. And even like, people are like, well, use DuckDuckGo. That's not any better. Not any better.
Yeah, it's not any better.
Brave's not that much better.
Nope.
Brave is a little better. I will say
Even the search modifier. So they have all these search modifiers you can use on Google to find specific stuff and eliminate certain search results, which I used to be able to find like anything using these maybe 5-6 years ago. But now, even when you do these search modifiers, which are designed to, specifically hone in on one specific word or a sentence and subtract anything you don't want, the things you don't want still show up because it messes with the arrangement of the research results because of the sidebar stuff. Like you have a news website that'll have something and then it has all the click on this, click on that. The things on the right, the click-ons become the dominant thing that leads to the results, and you end up with almost similar results than if you didn't use any search modifiers.
Yeah.
It's exactly how it is.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's exactly how it is, dude. So like, don't tell me this is only an election year thing, dude. Like Google, Amazon, like first of all, what is it? Like 87% of websites are on Amazon's fucking servers, dude. Like 87%.
You could be crashed at any moment. Ours got taken down years ago when we were on WSB. It got wiped completely without notice.
87% of websites on servers are on fucking Amazon. And do you think Amazon, of all the fucking people in all these corporations and like these DEI like corporations, do you think that Amazon is open to free speech?
Yeah, I think they're open to profit.
Doesn't the CIA still use their servers?
Of course they do.
That's right.
Of course they do. Of course they do. Everybody does, dude. So many federal government agencies and use their servers and stuff like the people who don't use servers, like financial institutions, typically like I work in financial data, right? Like that's what I work in, right? And like we have our own server rooms. I mean, that's, you know what I mean? And those are locked down super tight. Like, you know, sometimes federal government money goes through or whatever. They're locked down super tight, dude. Right? But like the vast majority of websites, I know, I'm positive it, last time I looked, it was like over 80% of websites run on Amazon servers, dude. Or Google servers.
Crazy.
That's a lot.
People do searches too. And it's funny because I've seen arguments where it's, well, they don't censor it. It's you just have to find it on the 10th or 11th page or whatever. Nobody goes that far. They've done like all these studies where it's 90% of people never go past the first page of a Google search result.
Of course not, dude. Of course. Why would you? The vast majority, we've been groomed into realizing that the first page, what we used to Google for was like information on like places to go, reviews on things, like restaurants, driving directions, like
the
all
best
these
wiki feet site.
Yeah, the best wiki feet site to go to, right? That's the thing is we've been groomed over the years of Google to look on the first one or two pages to find the things we're looking for. So now when we're looking for stuff that isn't mainstream and we're awake, not woke, right? Like we're like, oh fuck, dude, you have to literally travel like 100 pages into the search.
You have to spend half your day clicking through stuff. It's just
dude.
The same stuff.
I tested this the other day.
What's been effective for me, it's still effective anyway, although there's not always the relevant information you need, is I got a subscription to, I think it's like newspapers.com, but it's an archive newspaper site where you can search the newspaper archives in certain states. That's where I've been able to find certain information, although that also seems to have become more difficult than it used to be, but that at least is like going to the library almost. It's going to get back to where it's like I got to go to the library and start looking through the old newspapers, not even use the internet to find any information.
Oh God, are you talking like LexisNexis?
Yes.
Old school? Yeah, I remember that.
Well, Bill Kammermeyer in the chat said over 25% of AWS is U.S. government.
Oh my God,
over 25%, dude. Think about that. Think about that. So when people are like,
but ban TikTok, you know?
Yeah, ban TikTok, right? Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
I said that we talked about TikTok on the last episode quite a bit. And one of my things was, and I posted this on Facebook, and people are on YouTube, or sorry, so many social medias, Twitter, and people got mad at me for this, but it's true. Like, name one thing that the Chinese government is doing with TikTok that our government isn't doing on every fucking social media app in the world, dude.
Did you guys see the clip with Dan Crenshaw? Where he was speaking to reporters right outside. He was like, blah, 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 blah.
We've never monitored social media.
Hey, Dan Crenshaw, are you afraid that the U.S. agencies are doing the same thing as TikTok? And you could see him twitch a little bit.
He's like his programming fucked up. Yeah,
I slowed it down. He twitched a little bit.
Yeah, he almost came.
Shit.
He almost came out of his lizard suit for a minute.
And then
dude,
it
for sure.
Somebody needs to, excuse my language, skull fuck Dan Crenshaw with the truth.
Yes, yeah, in the good eye, in the good eye, by the way. No, I watched that, and then he was like, "Yeah, we've never."
And then he just squirmed and jumped in an SUV and drove away.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh yeah, no, national security has, or the CIA or whatever has never ever.
Yeah. Well, the
monitor social media.
What do you have some kind of evidence of that?
Yeah.
You have some kind of
the
evidence.
hidden cameras inside the walls of Congress, right? There's been a couple of stories of the gay sex that was clearly blackmail stories that did not get mainstream attention. There's been two of them now, which tells me anyway that the real January 6th footage is all the gay sex going on from the hidden cameras.
Yeah, that's why they haven't released the footage. They're like, oh, dude, they're gonna see all the orgies. They're gonna see all the orgies.
All over there getting pegged by his intern.
They're gonna see the orgies, man. We can't let it out. They're gonna see the orgies.
That shit's going on because if there's two hidden camera stories that they don't even tell us about, there's probably 100 of them.
At least, at least 100, dude. Absolutely. That's what that. Look, the Trump people, the MAGA guys outside were trying to get in, and they're like, dude, we got to shut down the orgies, and that's what's on camera.
Stop all the gay sex.
We got to stop all the gay sex now.
Who did James O'Keefe get the other day? Who was in the Department of Defense?
I don't know.
The gay guy.
So
James O'Keefe posed as a gay man. Went on the date. He was the plant, right? So he was the fucking mole.
They're gonna have to start. It's gonna be part of the DEI programs in the government
James
soon.
O'Keefe.
They're gonna have big pictures of James O'Keefe. Like, do not let this guy in anywhere.
Yeah, how do you not know yet? James O'Keefe is not.
And people are like, "Oh, that's a fake guy." No. He's a high up guy in the Department of Defense, and he got him, and he got him saying basically they would go door to do confiscation.
Oh yeah,
gun confiscation.
Stack the fuck up, bitch.
I almost feel bad for some of these guys that he's trying to seduce. They just give all this information out.
My favorite one so far was the guy who worked for Pfizer.
Oh yeah,
the scientist at Pfizer. He lost. He's like, I gotta call the cops. I'm like, yeah, dude, you're a bitch.
If he had a weapon on him, he probably would have.
He would have been shooting if he had a gun for sure. There's no doubt about it. James is great, dude. I fucking, people are like, oh, he's a Trumper, this, that. I don't give a fuck, dude. He's doing the Lord's work, man. And we probably don't see eye to eye on everything, but damn it, the more he exposes these people, the better, dude. The judge from the Trump case in the gym was hilarious too. He's like, yeah, I've been getting a lot of death threats. Like,
was that the one from the New York case?
Yep. Yes. Yep.
God, and the one. So his court clerk would whisper to him while Trump's lawyers was defending Trump. They just like have little giggling whisper sessions, and he would allow her to interrupt. It was the craziest thing. And that case particularly, people who just hate Trump don't know how just egregious what went on in that courtroom was. I mean, that would never happen in any legitimate system of justice right there.
Yeah.
That whole entire case.
No, absolutely not at all.
It
was a total rap jab. I mean, they were in there to fucking hack Donald Trump, who, again, fuck you for making me defend Donald Trump, dude. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to defend.
I know.
Stop making me defend Donald Trump. Why are you... Listen, when you're so bad that you're getting a libertarian to defend Donald Trump, you probably should rethink your idiocy. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And that's like their divide and rule kind of strategy is they put stories out there that create this ultimate, like, obviously, you should defend Trump in this situation of the bloodbath and situations like that case, but they ignore all the times when you criticize him because they want to eliminate all nuance from the conversation.
Right. That's true. That's what it is. It's black or white, black or white. I'm having this, and we're going to get into this too. The arming of the illegal aliens. Okay?
Yeah.
I'm in a conversation.
Are you talking UAPs or are we talking
both? All of them. Listen, if they believe in God, okay. No, here's the thing. And this is funny. No, I don't believe in aliens because I'm a God-fearing man, and I think if you believe in aliens.
No, but you believe in angels and demons.
Yes, exactly.
Those are aliens.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. The aliens are angels and demons.
Top Lobster says.
No, he's saying they're angels and demons.
Yeah.
They're not aliens. They are angels and demons.
Okay.
He doesn't believe in space.
We don't need to arm them either.
Yeah. We don't need to arm. Listen, the angels are already armed with the sword of Jesus.
Yes.
The sword of truth. Okay.
The armor
sword
of
justice, as we'd like to call it. But here's the thing. So I'm in this conversation right now with this guy on the right, big time on the right, who's a Bitcoin guy, by the way, which I listen, I respect you for being a Bitcoin guy, but you're being kind of a fucking retard right now on my Twitter, who saw my post today, and this is what I posted, and I mean this, and I believe this 100%. I posted, dear conservatives, your rights to self-defense come from God, not from the Constitution. Thanks, have a nice day. That's it. That's all I said. Okay, because there is this case where the Supreme Court has found that
racist.
Yeah. Well, no. There's a leftist calling me a racist for this view, and there's a righty guy calling me a communist for this view. Okay,
it's factually accurate.
And here's the thing: is like I'm not an open borders libertarian, dude. Okay, like I'm actually one of the libertarians that's not an open borders advocate. I think that we do have to have some kind of vetting if we want to keep our culture here, and especially if we were to somehow fucking BTFO the state and win our libertarian utopia, we absolutely have to defend that. Okay, if you think you're going to start a libertarian utopia and then not have to defend it, you're a fucking retard. You're retarded. You are absolutely retarded. Okay, because people are going to come there and they're going to fuck it up because you know what? Nobody in the world likes to see other people succeed.
You got to be like Superman almost.
Yes.
Where they're so afraid of you.
Yes, you're going to have to fucking defend it. Dude.
I'm going to push back on you a little bit with your statement. Okay. So, yes, your rights come from the creator, God, whatever you believe,
just
right?
inherited.
Okay.
They're inherited.
I got it.
Right? Yeah.
But
even if you're not religious, you can believe in that statement.
But also, those rights don't just kind of float there and they're yours forever. You have to defend them.
Sure.
The only way that you keep those rights and maintain them is that you defend those rights.
Right.
I think there's a misconception.
I don't know what you're pushing back on. I agree with you.
What's that?
I said I don't know what you're pushing back on. I agree with you.
No, I just meant like, yeah, your rights don't come from the government, but also the rights they're not permanent. Like you have to constantly defend that right too.
Yeah, you got to.
People are always trying to.
That's exactly what I'm getting at. And this is what separates me from the lolberts, dude. Straight up, it's what separates you from the lolberts too. Even though Top and the Nephilim guys seem to think you have some.
I'm blaming gay apparently.
Okay, you believe in space, so you're obviously gay.
I believe in outer space. So.
You believe that outer space exists and that we've been there. You're gay. Okay, but no, the truth is, honest to God, like if you really are a libertarian, okay, and your goal is liberty in my lifetime, right? That's the Lolbert like saying, right? Like that's like their slogan, liberty in our lifetimes. If you really believe that you're going to get liberty in your lifetime and you're not going to have to defend that,
right? Like,
look, dude, I watch the UFC. I'm an MMA fanatic, right? Like you become the champion, dog, and you don't just get to stay the champion. It doesn't work that way. Okay, you have to defend your title sometimes 4 times a year, dude. Some of these guys. Okay,
you have to beat the crap out of Cheeto.
Yeah, you got to fight Cheeto Vera, dog. Marlon Cheeto.
Your point is evident, by the way. Anytime a libertarian starts to emerge on the mainstream, like Ron Paul did, and we saw Gary Johnson, where they went after him with the Aleppo thing, which seemed to be an intentional pause in that question. Aleppo, whatever. But he was honest, at least in the way that he responded to it. But the one thing the left and the right can agree on is that we're going to team up and attack any libertarian that starts to gain power. So that, I think, illustrates your point that they will go after anybody. And so you got to be prepared.
Yeah, listen, if you're an American fighting for libertarianism today, okay, in a country that is absolutely one of the most corrupt governments in the history of the world, and you can argue with me all day. I guarantee you I can come up with more corrupt shit that the U.S. government has done than the fucking Romans. I'm not kidding you, dude. Mm-hmm. Okay, this is true. This is the truth. And so if you think you're gonna build a libertarian society in the United States of America, great. I'm on board with that. Let's fucking do it. But if you're gonna take away all of the ways that I have to defend that society when we get there, you're my enemy. Period. If you're in my way from defending that society, you're my enemy. Period, dude. I don't give a fuck if you're advocating for libertarianism, if you're making it so I have no way to defend that society, if you're telling me I have to let 6 million people a year flood across the border into my libertarian utopian society, if you're telling me that, these people, people who moved here, that live here now or whatever, shouldn't have rights or whatever, like about guns, you're my enemy. Like, I don't, dude, like fucking... You are going to have to fight for this, dude. I don't even think that we can get to a libertarian utopia without fighting.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Agree.
This government is the most corrupt, insane government in the history of the world. They kill people for resources. Tell me which country is one of the most resource-rich countries in the entire world? It's the United States, dude. So if you think that you're gonna somehow get your fucking totally government-free libertarian utopia in the United States and you're not going to have to fight for it, either you're a fucking ignorant fool or you're evil. Either way, get out of my fucking way, dude. You know what I mean?
They're not just going to accept it. They're going to come after you with everything they have, whether it's within this country, the forces they have, or forces they have outside this country with the Five Eyes connection they have. I mean, this is a world military dominance that we have here that they would target on any libertarian government that would emerge here. So yeah, you're absolutely right.
So like, look, dude, I'm not interested. First of all, I'm not interested in telling aliens, illegal or not. I don't give a fuck. Okay. I'm not interested in putting more gun legislation on the books in the United States. Full stop. Full stop. In fact, I think every gun legislation today in the United States is an infringement on my fucking rights, on the rights of all human beings.
We've already been aggressed on. Like the NAP always comes up, right?
Right. Well, it's a good starting point.
Guys,
the NAP is a good
We've already been aggressed on. They're aggressing every day. They've got a gun to your head. Pay your taxes.
Right.
Yeah, but David Hogg, guys. David Hogg.
Oh God, yeah. He's a retard too.
Oh God.
But here's the thing. So when I'm talking about rights, okay, your rights to have a nation are not given to you by God. Okay, your rights to have a nation are given to you by whatever governing body oversees that nation. I agree with that. I don't think that that's a libertarian point of view per se. But I do believe that that's the truth. I believe that if you have a nation state, you only have that nation state as long as it can be defended, and typically by a government, okay?
Yep.
When we're talking about the rights to self-defense, okay, there are tons of rights out there that I think are inherent rights that everybody should have. I don't give a fuck I don't even care if they've broken the law for the most part. You know what I mean? There are some things like if you're a fucking kitty diddler, I don't think you should be alive. So like, not only do I think that you shouldn't have your rights to weapons, I don't think you should be alive. I think you should lose your right to life, right? So like if there's something where I think you should be unalived for.
You definitely shouldn't have an island.
Right, yeah, you definitely shouldn't have $1 billion island, that's for sure. And it seems in today's society that you may get one. I don't know. And then, maybe when we get our libertarian utopia, you meet Chippy. But the truth is that I believe that these rights are inherent to all people. Absolutely, 100%. The right to self-defense, okay, is inherent to all people. If you have committed no crimes, violent crimes especially, okay, against vulnerable people, or you're not in the act of committing a crime, you should have the right to defend yourself. Now, if you're an unmitigated offensive position where you're harming someone, fuck your rights, all of them, right? But
let me ask you this, Josh.
Yeah.
So where does the NAP principle come in to all of this? I know people outside libertarianism, that's one thing that they attack a lot.
Right. So I said this the other day. I said, I think that, and I said this when I was explaining borders to people who, I didn't want to be inflammatory when I'm talking about the borders issue. I'm a libertarian who believes that currently in the state that we are in currently, we cannot have unmitigated movement of people. I just don't think we can do it. I don't think it's sustainable. I think it's draining. It's draining, net resources for the people who pay taxes here. Like, I think it's bad. Okay, I think it's not good right now. And I've been very clear, and I made it very clear why I believe that. And I said I understand the argument from the non-aggression principle. This is a great starting point. All of our one of the most basic things that we learn as a child is don't hurt anybody and don't take their stuff. Okay. Yeah. That's the truth. I mean, it's one of the first things we start teaching our 2-year-olds and 1-year-olds.
Like the golden rule.
It's the golden rule. So like, it's very important. It's a very important aspect of ideology. The problem is that some of us get so fucking autistic about it that we don't explore other avenues where the NAP may not apply or can't apply if you want what you're working for, right? And I think this is where Hopa's been really good on this, right? Like when he's talking about physical removal, he's talking about how, no polite society or libertarian society can suffer basically communism, right? Like there's a time-tested proof there of that, right? Like anytime there's been any kind of like inkling of communist movement, like it destroys everybody, right? So we know we can't just try it again in a libertarian society, right? We know what's going to happen. We know there'll be hundreds of millions dead due to starvation and the shutting down of factories and murder. You know what I mean? So we have to at some point admit to ourselves as libertarians, like the NAP is a great starting point. And I think it's great. I think that we need to always, look at everything that we do and everything that we argue for and advocate for through the lens of the non-aggression principle first. first.
Yeah.
But then we have to start moving into reality. And I know a lot of people get mad at me when I start talking about reality as a libertarian, but that's the truth, dude. Like,
that's where the attacks come from, though, is based in reality.
Yes.
Well, Brad, there's a Jordan Peterson angle here too. I think some of us libertarians, I think, maybe talk about the NAP and maybe they couldn't fight back if they wanted to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people that use the NAP as kind of a shield because they know that they haven't been training. They don't have a firearm. They don't know how to fight. They can't. If they wanted to fight back, they couldn't if they tried.
And that's the product of modern society. Absolutely.
Yes. So I think it's important to bring into the discussion also, we need to be those libertarians that do have a way to fight back. Like, we are fucking beasts,
people
but we have it under control.
Yeah.
Right? We use it sparingly. That's the point. The point isn't to be weak and to say, oh, no aggression at all. No, it's aggression only when it's needed, when you're being pushed on.
Yeah. No,
that's the point.
What y'all saying, I'm totally like, I'm with that. What I think about is, so the laws of war that they've talked a lot about with the Gaza-Israel war going on.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, the laws of war that they refer to, and when you look back through history, the way this has gone for at least the last 100 years or so, is everything has to be a war of defense, which just totally incentivizes false flags and making it look like you're going after somebody. Everything is a war of defense. And so with the NAP principle, I just see a vulnerability there to outside predators of trying to set up this libertarian nation as going after them, and it's a war of defense, and then they use propaganda to get all of their people to support what they falsely believe was an attack. And I don't know how to get around that. That's one thing I've kind of
I see your point. You're saying where you let the attack happen, wink, wink.
Yeah.
So that you can then annihilate your enemy.
Yeah, either that or you
happens.
Inside job, whatever.
Yeah.
I just keep coming back to this. I think it's a really sentient point, right? Like, if you think you're going to start a libertarian utopia and not have to defend it, you're retarded. Like, that's it.
Absolutely right.
Correct.
I think that's it. I think that's the most important point that I've made when it comes to the borders debate. Absolutely, 100%.
I think you can get excited about that argument too, because, a lot of people sit around going, man, I should start taking karate.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Here's a reason to start taking karate if you're a libertarian or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hold on, Binkley, I'm watching your audio cut out. Is anybody? Oh, wait a minute. Oh, that was not your audio. That was my audio. Never mind.
Is that your audio?
It wasn't cutting out. I wasn't talking, and I
okay.
thought I was looking at his sound bar, and I was looking at my sound bar, so it stopped moving. And never mind.
You're not boomering the stream.
No, I'm not boomering the stream. I think I fixed our audio issues. I think I'm no longer cutting out. Nobody else is cutting out finally. So if you hear that we're cutting out, let us know.
Good deal.
But yeah, I took me about 3 years to get the audio where I wanted it on
Dude,
the show.
audio's a bitch, man. They pay the audio guys on movie sets the big bucks for a reason.
Yeah, there's a reason for that, dude. It is fucked up and it's very hard. But anyway, so there's a guy on the right called me a communist right now, saying that I'm an open borders advocate, despite the fact that I just posted a 4-minute clip of a show that we did from a couple weeks ago, where I said very clearly that I'm not an open borders advocate. I don't think it's sustainable, and I think that when I'm running for president, I have to think of it in terms of governing a nation, right? Like, not just, like, I'm going to win and then say, fuck all of you people and do everything you don't want me to do. Like, there's some level, regardless of party or ideology, where you have to kind of listen to your constituency. You know what I mean? Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Well, whenever somebody says open borders, even libertarians, I go, okay, what do you mean by open borders? That's such a vague, it's a very simple, vague statement.
Open borders is a government program, dude, too. I mean, it is. You know what I mean? Like, if we were to get to our libertarian utopia, the only borders that would matter anymore are private property, right? Like, that's
right. And so that's what I was going to ask. Where does that limitation end at private property, you're saying?
Right. I don't know. And I don't know what that would look like. And I talk about I've used to talk a lot about polyarchy, right? Like, so like anarchy, if we were to get like to 50 or 5,000 Liechtensteins or 50,000 Liechtensteins or whatever, right? Like, whatever we want to get to here in the United States, there's going to be polyarchy, dude. It's not going to be, anarcho-capitalism across the board in the whole land. People are going to choose their own communities, and their communities are going to be different. There's going to be polyarchy, right? And if there's a community that's an hour away from me that's like, a bunch of pedophiles, I'm going to start a war with them.
That's not a community you want to get.
I'm going to start a war with them, dude. I'm going to get the guys from my anarcho-capitalist society, and we're going to go down the street and we're going to fuck those guys up. And I mean that, you know what I mean? And so like polyarchy is what's going to happen if we ever got the national divorce that I would like to see, you know what I mean? Because I think that might be the only way we ever really get the libertarian
see
utopia.
That playing out?
Oh,
I
dude,
don't mean
a lot of bloodshed. There's going to be a lot of bloodshed. It's going to be. Somebody in the chat just said exactly how I felt. Actually, my buddy from Rise to Liberty show. If you guys aren't familiar, go check him out. To get where we want to be, we will have to do unlibertarian things. We will have to do everything it takes, liberty or death. Very true. That's true. Yeah. I believe that. If we're ever going to get to that national divorce level, even, which, you know, everybody says peaceful national divorce, dude. You think Lincoln didn't allow a peaceful national divorce? You think they're going to allow one now? Not in the United States. Not in the United States. No. I think there has been. I mean, to some extent, Taiwan, right? I mean, it has been pretty peaceful.
You know, you're making me think about hunter-gatherer societies. We're talking about defending yourself and whatnot, and how they used to be around 50 to 100 people or so in these societies, and they survived. They also knew how to live off the land. It takes me back to the whole karate thing I was talking about. Is if everybody could just live off the land and do karate, we'd all be okay, I think.
I'm actually that guy. I'm actually that guy. Like, I could shoot. I know how to use weapons. I know how to use guns. But I'm also every week I'm like I should learn to hunt because I don't hunt.
Before COVID, so to 2020. Okay, before 2020, I wasn't involved in any mutual aid groups. I didn't have any preps at my house. I had maybe a week of food. Okay.
Yeah.
And I had kids. I had a wife and one, you know, I mean,
try and prep with 7 kids, dude.
So, like, yeah, I mean,
it's hard.
It's complicated, but after COVID, and I realized how quickly things can turn to shit.
Yeah,
it just motivates you, and I know as a father, it motivated me hardcore to get ready and turn things around and say, okay, I'm responsible for this. Like, there's a company called 30 Seconds Out. You know, nobody's coming to rescue you.
Yeah.
It's great. No one's coming.
No one's coming.
Expect to self-rescue, guys.
Absolutely.
No one's coming.
So I don't know if you guys have AT&T or if you were affected by this, but the AT&T network went out a couple of weeks ago.
Nope, I was doing like the rest of the plebs.
Wouldn't happen, and it cut out. And my phone was out for probably like 6 or 7 hours, and my Wi-Fi or my cellular stuff wasn't, but the internet portion of it was. And so I could see all the people complaining that they didn't know what to do. And I'm like, man, what if the grid really goes down? These people would be just completely helpless.
And we're talking a $20 bow thing, a Chinese. We're talking a $20 Chinese radio is all you would need to communicate with people, at least, you know, within 1 to 5 miles of you. And you can set up, you know, you can look online. I'm not going to talk about it, but you can set up networks.
I mean, I ate the neighbor's dog as soon as my network went out.
Yeah. I mean, dude, listen, most people in law enforcement and military, when there's like civil wars in foreign countries and stuff, it's about 72 hours. It's 72 hours of uncomfortable nervousness, and then all hell breaks loose.
And that's a possibility.
When people realize they can't get food, when people realize they can't get food, and they realize that their security is gone, they turn into different people.
Right. So, I think people can get that intellectually, but I don't know that everybody can prepare for, or has the like, well, maybe I'll do that later kind of attitude.
Exactly.
First of all, hey, hold on. Quick intermission here. Rumble, there's currently 1,000 people watching on the Rumble right now live. You guys are killing it. Thank you, Rumble, for featuring us once again. If you're on Rumble, we're trying to eventually move over to Rumble, but we have to beat our following on YouTube, which is at like over 6,000 followers currently. Yeah. So if you could, if you're watching on Rumble, give us a follow. Keep that algorithm boosted the way it is. We appreciate you. We're putting on a good show here. We put a lot of time in this show. We do a lot of production value and all that stuff for you guys. So make sure it's good. Good audio, good video, good guests. If you check us out, we'd appreciate a follow on YouTube or
share,
Rumble,
follow.
for sure. Yeah, for sure.
Comment.
Help us out. Keep sharing
things.
it. Keep helping us build that thing. We have a rep over at Rumble that we're working with to keep getting featured, and hopefully that'll happen. And we'll keep building our platform there till we're an exclusive Rumbler. But I would appreciate it if you guys are watching.
Help us
on
keep
Rumble
running
Falls.
our mouth by sharing it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I got 7 kids. I'm trying to grift myself into a full-time dad. Okay.
Let's do this.
I used to say that all the time when I first started the show. I'm just trying to grift the ad revenue to being a full stay-at-home dad, dude. But really, and I mean, I think that's what we're all doing. And truthfully, if I was able to do this full time, I'd probably spend more time doing this than I do my job. You know what I mean? And that's okay. At least I'd be home. You know. But I do. If you guys are watching, go ahead and give us a follow. So tell us what you've been talking about over there on the propaganda report for a couple of weeks, Brad.
The past couple of weeks, I've been talking about what's going on in Fulton County, Georgia, with Fani Willis and Judge McAfee and Trump, the Fulton County case, which is, I think, if they want to make a spectacle out of this entire Trump is guilty of something related to January 6th thing, I think the Fulton County case is the one that they would want to do it with. Because, like an OJ, like a spectacle times 10, televised. Because you can't televise a federal case. So the Jack Smith case, you can't televise. And the other cases, they're such bullshit that it's hard to generate any interest. And so down here, you have this case with this Fani Willis, and you're in this district that is entirely Stacey Abrams, Fani Willis, communist country. I mean, it's awful. It's the worst place ever, downtown Atlanta, Fulton County. It's like Gotham City with no Batman right now. and so I've been covering what's going on in that case, and a lot of people felt like Fani Willis, who was the district attorney who was overseeing Trump's case, whose father started the Black Panthers in Los Angeles years ago. And I have a congressional report on an arrest of his where it lists how he started a bank account with Angela Davis, the well-known communist, who was the first woman on the FBI's most wanted list because she aided and abetted like a bank robbery and murder. It's crazy,
yeah,
right?
That's right.
And so she's talking on this trial because they had a disqualification hearing because she was banging this guy that she hired. I call her the fat black female Harvey Weinstein because I think the only way she has sex is that she intimidates people in her district attorney's office to have sex with her. And this whole ordeal, because she's the one who brought the indictment against Trump, was stalled because they had a disqualification hearing, and everybody was like, maybe they'll disqualify her, maybe they won't. You have this Republican white judge, Judge McAfee. And since the day that this whole thing dropped, I've been telling people, he is not going to disqualify her. This is an illusion because he was appointed by the Republican governor, Brian Kemp, who hates Donald Trump, who opposes anybody who questions the election. Now, up until 2021, around December, he was okay with questioning the election. And then his daughter's boyfriend died in a strange accident. I don't know if there's a conspiracy there. I just know that immediately after that, he was opposed to anything Donald Trump, especially questioning the election. And so he puts this guy there. The guy did not win his seat. And the guy, the judge, who gives the illusion of fairness with his even keel demeanor and his whiteness and maleness, he is up for re-election in May. And I'm looking at the circumstances in the background of this, not to mention that the guy used to freaking work for Fani Willis. He reported to her at the district attorney's office. And he also worked for Kemp, who appointed him. There's nothing but conflict of interest. If you want to remove somebody from this case that would make it a little more fair, is you remove the judge. You could even leave Fani Willis if you bring a judge in who doesn't have all these ties to it. So I've been talking about how everybody's wrong who says this is going to get disqualified. And I was correct on that because I feel like it was obvious. But what a lot of people don't realize about Fani is, so Fani Willis, Stacey Abrams, you guys are probably familiar with her.
Yeah,
Fani Willis's father.
I wish I wasn't.
Yeah, I wish I wasn't either. My sister lives downtown, and this happened like a year ago. I was driving down to go see her, and I go past this building and in Castleberry, and I'm like, is that a giant fucking mural of Stacey Abrams? How do you even have a building big enough?
That's a big fucking building.
It's like a 40-story. I mean, it's the biggest building I've ever seen in my life. If I was playing tackle football, I'd pick her first, but anything else, I'm not picking Stacey Abrams. But so Fani Willis, the guy that was banging her to get the job, and he actually was also banging this other even fatter woman, if you can believe that, to get a job in Cobb County he was covered.
Was it fucking that singer?
Mess down there.
What's her name?
It's wild.
What's the singer's
What
name?
singer?
That singer? I don't know, the fat black singer lady.
Oh, Lizzo.
Lizzo, yeah,
Big,
yeah.
like Lizzo size.
Like Lizzo.
Yeah, kind of a Lizzo-ish, but like 30 years older. I mean, this woman was like like a
Jesus.
70-year-old, and I'm like, man, this. And the craziest thing about this Nathan Wade guy is when you look at his wife, she's smoking hot, dude. His ex-wife.
What the fuck?
I mean, she's
They
smoking
let him do.
hot.
They
This
let him
guy-
do the weird shit. That's why. That's what happened.
Absolutely, yeah, no, totally. And so he's plowing his way through these fat black women to get his meal. And so he ends up getting promoted to Fulton County, and Fannie Willis is there. And the whole thing is corrupt, and everybody involved, Nathan Wade, Fannie Willis's ex-husband, which nobody talks about, right? So Fannie Willis's ex-husband, Fred Willis. I was trying to find information about this guy because I'm looking for a pattern of behavior. Did she cover shit up before? You know, that's what you look for when you're trying to make a case in the legal community. Can I share screen? Is that possible here?
I
I want to see if you guys recognize who this is here. I think I can. I'll see if I can. If it doesn't work, then
Yeah,
I'll
if
just
you can,
explain
go
it.
ahead. I'd be more than happy to let.
Let me make sure this is right because there's a lot of crazy shit connected. Fanny. All right, so here it is right here. So this is the image on 6 different websites that I found when I'm trying to find information about Fannie Willis. Was this image right here? You can share that image that I put there. So do you notice anything about? See, it says this is Fannie Willis's ex-husband. I didn't put that there. That's from the website. You know who that? You see that? What do you think about that?
Looks like Shaq.
That's
Jack
Shaquille
Diesel.
O'Neal.
It is,
That's
right?
fucking
What?
Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah.
And I did all these specific searches. I used Google modifiers, and every website shows Fannie Willis with Shaquille O'Neal. And I'm like, maybe somebody should call this Fred Willis and say Shaquille O'Neal has stolen your identity, and he's running around pretending to be you. I mean,
That's
Oh my
crazy.
god.
I mean, this
What?
isn't that a little bit weird?
That is a
That
little
she can
weird.
find nothing about her ex-husband. And so I'm watching this hearing where they're trying to disqualify this woman who is the one who brought this big indictment. And they did not disqualify the most obviously corrupt person that you have ever seen. And nobody brings this up. Nobody brings up the fact that the story about her meeting her husband is the weirdest story ever, which if you go to Wikipedia, it says, Fannie Willis was taking the bar exam and she happened upon a man who was doing a side job. And that's what it says. It says a side job. That's weird. What's the side job? As a videographer. And then they got married. And the only quote Fannie Willis ever says about him is that he had nice legs and he got me pregnant with him. So he fucked her with his legs, got her pregnant apparently. And then you
If
hear
it was
nothing
Shaq,
about
it's a
him.
leg. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. Yes. So you never hear about this guy ever. And so my question is, was there infidelity involved? Because the guy was like 15 years older.
Right.
When they first met, was there infidelity involved after? But nobody ever brings that shit up and just pretend he didn't exist. But that dude was also part of what's called these Divine Nine fraternities and sororities at the HBCU, the black school, historically black colleges. And so was Shaquille O'Neal, and so was Nathan Wade, and so was her dad, and every fucking person involved in this case were all part of this Divine Nine fraternities when they were younger, which are known as the Black Freemasons, the Black Illuminati.
Whoa,
Fucking A,
dude.
And Fannie Willis, I started looking at every single person she had hired since she became the district attorney. And probably 90% of the people that she hired, which makes up probably about 50% of the entire office right now, she hired Divine Nine Black Illuminati people. Now, I don't know if that's just, I know that people who are in fraternities with each other will hire people in similar fraternities. I do understand that. But this is just information that nobody brings out that I'm like, that seems a little bit weird, especially when her dad was a well-known communist who had a bank account with Angela Davis, probably the most well-known communist that's still alive right now. Mm-hmm. And nobody even says anything about it. And then she's on the stand because they were trying to get rid of her because of an inappropriate relationship for hiring this Nathan Wade guy that she was banging, who was not qualified really to do this type of job. And that he took all the Fulton County money because he paid her hundreds of thousands of dollars to that he funneled back to her in the form of vacations, gifts, and all the Baconators that she can eat, which is not appropriate whatsoever. And so people are questioning her father about this relationship, and her father can remember specific details from like 10, 15 years ago. But then they say, did your daughter tell you about any of this stuff about, this testimony? And he says, oh, I can't remember. She may have been he can't recall what happened 3 hours earlier when his fucking flight lands, but he can recall all the details from like 30 years ago or 4 years ago. It's just such a con, such a fraud. And my proposition is that the entire Fulton County District Attorney Office is filled with black Illuminati communists. I don't know what they want. I was arrested in Fulton County wrongly 10 years ago. Thank God it was 10 years ago. I would not want to be arrested as a white dude in Fulton County right now.
Wow.
What cities are Fulton? What cities are Fulton County?
That's Atlanta, right?
Yeah, it's
Is it
Atlanta. It's like
Atlanta
downtown. It's where Trump got arrested. It's like
oh yeah.
yeah.
That is okay. So that is Atlanta.
Yeah.
Okay. That's crazy.
Right downtown in Atlanta. It's where the Braves Stadium used to be till they moved out of Cobb County. Till they moved to Cobb County, everybody called them racist for that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know a lot about Georgia, honestly. I lived there.
Brad, is the 30,000 feet view of this that they don't see? Okay, just specifically, black women in the lawyers and politicians, they're corrupt because they just don't. They can't handle it. They haven't had a lot of power, so now they get power, and it's just they get just let loose.
I think they have been trained to be this way, and I think with Fanny, I think that she is arrogant about it, and I think that she feels insulted. This is my psychological analysis.
Okay.
I think she feels insulted to have to cover up the fact that she's corrupt. I think that's why she performed the way that she did. But when you look at the background,
they lying on me, right?
Right, exactly. So Fannie Willis, right, her father, the one who testified, Stacey Abrams' parents, Juicy Smollett's parents, they all were part of the same organization. They all grew up being trained how to do this type of activism that they are now doing in positions of power. But their parents did this type of activism outside of power. So there's a book called The Organizational Weapon. It's the Bolshevik Strategy for Obtaining Power. And it talks in this book. It's a great book. It's written by, I think, the Rand Corporation. And I know that there's going to be a level of propaganda that even comes from the Rand Corporation. And I also know that there's full-blooded communists, and then there's people who like to use communist tactics to get power. So putting that out there. But this book talks about the strategies of power. When you're outside of power, you use the tactics that her father, Fannie Willis's father, used that he got arrested for. The reason Fannie Willis was talking about all this money, $15,000 cash, my dad told me to hide, is because her father was running from the FBI all the time, and he needed untraceable money, which is exactly what Fannie used the money for.
Yeah.
But the other strategy is, once you feel that you can exploit democracy, you shed your communist colors and you try and co-op, you try and co-op government offices. And I believe that, like Fannie and Stacey and all these other people involved, I believe that they are doing the same thing with the power of the state government and the judiciary that their parents did outside of government, except they've just kind of shedded their communist colors a little bit. I don't know what's going to happen, but the Fulton County District Attorney's office is overrun with the sons and daughters of communists.
What, dude, well done.
Well, and not shockingly, this actually ties into what I talk about a lot on the show with Yuri Bezmenov and how I said
oh yeah, dude.
I mean, I've said it very clearly a million times that Yuri Bezmenov came over here in the 70s, defected from the KGB. I probably said it on every show.
Yeah,
I honestly,
keep saying it, man.
It's
That
so
video
fucking
is
important.
so eye-opening.
It's so important to know that in the 70s, the KGB and the Soviets were already infiltrating our institutions. Already,
dude, when Russians defect, I shit my pants.
Yeah, and so when you really think about like the Bolshevik and just the communist strategy and agenda in general, which by the way, Americans used to be brave enough to make sure they had to talk about that shit in basements. You know what I mean? When we had a brave society that actually didn't fucking cuck to the communists, we used to force them into basements to have these meetings. But he came over here and told us like they're infiltrating all of your institutions. Everything.
Kamala Harris is in this also. Kamala Harris is also the same. She is in the same. She was in the same college. She held this party in 2023 before the indictment
All the
that
party.
was exclusively for the HBCU fraternities and sororities, which was made up mostly of the Divine Nine. Fannie Willis was at that party. I don't know what her gay, Jewish lawyer husband was doing during the time, but they have videos of it, and they're doing all of the rituals there. And Kamala Harris, I used to cover this story back. This happened in 2015, and I think the first time I covered it was like 2018, maybe, about Kamala Harris when she was the Attorney General of California. One of her top aides, of course, her office said that she wasn't. She never even really knew him. He was just a low level. That's not true. I found evidence that wasn't true. He worked directly underneath her, and she specifically thanked him and appointed him to specific jobs. It's a guy named Brandon Keel. He got arrested. I'll show you another image here, this is the crazy. I used to think that this was just a couple of crazy people making shit up until I connected it to this story with Fannie Willis and all them. The thing I just shared with you there. The headline from 2015. Aide for California Attorney General arrested for pretending to be a police officer with the Masonic Fraternal Police Department after cops seized fake badges, uniforms, weapons, and patrol cars. And the guy in the very bottom is the guy who worked for Fannie Willis. And when he was arrested for doing this, what they did is they arranged meetings at these police precincts in California, and he used his Kamala Harris Attorney General badge to get a foot in the door. And during those meetings, they said, we are part of the Masonic Fraternal Police Department. We are descendants of the first police department in history. The Knights Templar is what we're descendants of. And we are here to exercise our power over your jurisdiction and the jurisdiction of every police department in the state of California, as well as 33 other states and all of Mexico. Can you imagine putting on a fake police uniform and walking in and saying this, right? And then the investigator asked this Brandon Keel guy, well, what did Kamala think about what you were doing, using her badge and her leverage to get these meetings? He said she knew about it and she approved of it. That's what he said. Nobody ever asked Kamala. This is a fucking vice president. Nobody ever asked her about that. She's never commented on this as far as I can tell. And these three people, so the one guy, let me show you another image here. This is a really wild image because this guy is photo. There's photos. I had a Google Plus page for this guy I'm about to show you.
Before you move on, I also want to say, as somebody who's a resident of California for 30 years, she was absolutely one of the most corrupt fucks in that state, and she kept people in prison on death row.
That's right.
When they had
black people smoking weed, awful.
But here's the thing. She had the evidence that would exonerate the person that was sitting on death row, and she refused to bring that evidence to light. She had the evidence, dude. She kept someone on death row knowing that he was innocent and withheld the evidence that would have exonerated him. This is proven. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is proven that our vice president of the United States of America, when she worked in law, kept someone on death row knowing.
But she's a strong female of color.
Right, exactly. Let's see what you got pulled up here.
Well, she's
this guy.
Go ahead.
This guy that called himself the Grand Master. This guy was the leader of this, at least he called himself the leader of this little operation. And believe it or not, this guy is an Emmy-winning journalist at a Fox News local affiliate. This is not a bullshit guy. Like, he's actually a pretty smart guy. And so back in the day, before I started reading about Fannie and all this and the Black Illuminati, and I'm like, man, this guy's got some problems or something weird going on. But it turns out this guy and Brandon Keel also were members of one of the Divine Nine fraternities when they were in college. And that guy, all three of these people, there was these two dudes, and then there was the female, and they were all arrested for impersonating a police officer. There was fake police cars, they say. There was fake police uniforms and weapons confiscated from their house when they arrested them. They were all put on trial. And Brandon Keel, Kamala's guy, the day of his trial, the case fell apart. They said that one of the cops, part of the evidence they got was a cop walking by his Mustang and seeing something inside, which was a violation. He didn't have a warrant. So they used this, I don't want to say technicality, but they found a way out. And the way that I perceive that is Kamala going, you worked for me for a long time. We're going to give you a break. You're going to get out of here. because after that, the guy's online footprint disappears. It's gone. From 2015 on, gone. The only thing I tried to find stuff on him, and somebody sent me something recently where they said, I think I found Brandon Keel as a realtor in Miami or something like that, like a couple of months ago. There's nothing about the guy. He disappeared. Now, this other guy that I just showed you, the day before his trial, right? And there's videos of this guy, and I have one if you want to watch it. This guy has all these videos that he made on a YouTube page, which nobody has seen. He has like 100 fucking views, probably most of them me playing them on shows, where he is going, the investigator in San Francisco, I can't remember what her name is, put a hit out on me and is trying to kill me. She's trying to kill me. And I'm begging Kamala Harris, he calls out Kamala specifically, and Barack Obama to stop what's happening to our fraternal Masonic order. Stop it, because they're trying to murder us. And then in one of the videos, he even says, bring it on, try and kill me. Well, guess what? Like a month later, after he made that fucking video, the day before his trial, he drops dead. He fucking drops dead of a pulmonary embolism is what they say. And then the only one to spend any time in prison for like a year is the woman.
Dude,
Hashtag me too.
Dude, this is deep.
This gets fucking really deep. We was Knights
idea.
of Templar and shit.
Yeah,
I had no fucking idea, man. Wow.
Nobody's asked Kamala about this shit at all. She's a fucking vice president.
Yeah, well, I kind of look. I didn't know all this. Okay, first of all, but I will say, and I'm glad to have someone on the show that says something that talks about shit I don't know about. I like this a lot. But here's the thing: is like none of it surprises me at all, because Kamala Harris, because I'm from California and I understood like what I said here. There is nothing at all that any American is going to bring up to me, in my opinion, that is worse than the fact that this woman was the district attorney that left a man on death row knowing he was innocent. Okay.
Absolutely.
Her job is justice. And she left a man on death row knowing he was innocent, knowing with the evidence in hand that she withheld the evidence to keep him on death row.
Well, Tulsi
surprised me. Huh?
Tulsi shanked her on stage. We saw a little.
Yeah, that should have been the end of her run.
That should have been the end. I thought that was it. But has Kamala Harris always talked the same way? Somebody said she talked different when she was in California.
Oh yeah,
because now she's like,
I don't know.
she always talks like, we are
code switching.
Like she's trying to make she's trying to make a t-shirt slogan. She's trying to leave a legacy of some magical quote like MLK. And every time she fucking gets a chance to speak, she tries to do this quote. She brings up a new little slogan or a new little.
The Merlot fucks it up, I think.
Yeah, and it's always retarded.
Well, she's retarded and she drinks a lot.
She's not even African American.
No, she's like Indian, bro.
Yeah, it's like Indian and Jamaican, I think.
Yeah, she's not African American at all.
Wow.
Dude, what a crazy fucking story. That's nuts. Well,
it's wild, dude.
Yeah.
That is wild, Brad.
Well, listen, dude. Apparently I'm a communist and also a racist fascist all the same day. Just because I don't buy the propaganda, and I think that many rights come from God, except for the right to have a nation. So like, it's been a crazy day, dude. Brad, I appreciate you coming on, man. That was
for having me,
that
man.
was
Thanks
a
for letting me
wild fucking story, dude. Wild.
I'm gonna go down some rabbit holes.
Yeah, I'm gonna be down the rabbit hole for the
Holy
rest of the week about that shit. Brad, where can people find you, support you, listen to you, all those good things?
Propagandafight.com is my website. You can find me on X at FreedomX Radio, YouTube.com/Brad Binkley, Rumble.com/The Prop Report, and Rockfin.com/Propaganda Report.
Nice.
Well done, man. Good research.
Well done, dude.
Good research.
Thanks for having me on, guys. You guys are fun.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man. This is a lot of fun. We'll definitely have you back on anytime you want, man. If you're ever through Iowa, we got a full in-person studio here too, dude.
Oh,
so we don't have the bridge like you do.
Are you near Dyersville or what's it? Where's the Field of Dreams?
Yeah, that's Dyersville. That's a ways from here.
Hour and a half.
Yeah, that's about it's almost 2 hours. I think.
A youngster, young.
Did you get arrested? You got arrested in the Field of Dreams?
Story for another day. Isn't it?
Hell yeah, dude. But yeah, it's we're not. Are we that?
We
far
need
away?
him back on for. I bet he knows about James U and the house explosion.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I don't
dude.
know. Yeah, it goes way deep.
Come back on.
We'll
Go deep on.
We'll do a show about.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about doing another.
That's wiped.
It's wiped.
Out of
It's
the
gone.
news.
Nobody's talking
Nobody's
about it.
talking about it.
I used to do a show every couple of weeks called because this show used to be called Couch Streams. when I did it from the couch, which is where AJ typically is now. And so every couple of weeks I do an episode called
Conspiracy
Couch.
Yeah.
And I would have people like Monica Perez come on. And of course, Dave Casey and Dan Smots and all these people that are into conspiracies like I am. But we should do a conspiracy couch soon and have you on, Binkley. You down for that?
Yeah, I'm down.
Okay, cool. Maybe we could get Monica to come on too, and Dave and everybody. That'd be a lot of fun. Well, hey man, I appreciate you so much, Binkley. Thank you so much for hanging out, dude. We love you to death. I know it's a little bit shorter episode, about 10 minutes, just so I can go hug my grandma before she goes back to the hotel. But she is here. I haven't got to see her yet, and I need a grandma hug. I haven't seen her since we drove to the national convention in 2022. So it's been almost 2 years since I've seen my grandma on it. Yeah, it's weighing heavy on my heart.
Go give her a hug.
Yeah, I'm going to. But hey, Brad, thank you so much for coming on again, dude. I appreciate you.
Nice to meet Brad.
Yeah, nice to meet
you guys.
Nice AJ. Nice to meet him because he's fucking cool, dude. He's one of the best guys we've ever had, for sure. Thanks a lot, Brad. I appreciate you, man. We'll talk with you soon. All right, guys. Another awesome episode. If you're not following Brad, if you're not listening to Brad, that's a fucking man who does his research on issues.
That's awesome.
Go check him out right now. Fucking subscribe to his show and our show. If you're watching on you, we still got 1,000 people watching on Rumble right now live. So if you guys could fucking please subscribe to the show. We have a lot of really great guests like Brad that come on twice a week. Thursday, my mother will be on the show. We're gonna bring Mama on the show. Yeah. So she'll be fourth position on the couch over here next to AJ, and Ryan will be back hopefully. And my mom, if you watch the show in the early days, in the beginning, my mom has already done an in-person studio episode, but it's back when I did not have the capabilities to do a real in-person studio episode, and so the audio is all fucked up. And it was
I'll be here Thursday. I'll be hanging with Cheryl.
Yeah, so Cheryl, my mama, who considers herself a lovertarian, not a libertarian, a lover. I just want everyone to love everyone, but yeah, the government kind of sucks too. She'll be in the. I actually groomed my mother to vote for Spike Cohen in 2020. Not awesome. Joe Jorgensen. Spike Cohen.
Oh, nice.
It wasn't Joe who got my 6-year-old boomer mother to vote. It was Spike. So, but yeah, she'll be in the studio. It'll be a lot of fun. I love you guys so much. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you Thursday. Until then, don't forget to break the cycle.
To GTA 5 and the things you do. So when any violence you commit, I am not an excuse, because I just landed in Minecraft. Wood chipper is my friend and he's constantly cold. Accusations of incitement getting totally old. Make your own choices, yeah, you have control, because I just landed in Minecraft. Obviously I would never advocate force, unless there's due process and a trial, of course. And if you're convicted, we will make you a corpse. In Minecraft, just in Minecraft. You're nothing I mean, you know it. No product theaters, gets it close to COVID. Holy shit, I think I'm a poet.